Ich bin für euch in die USA geflogen, um mir dort ein Cannabis-Fachgeschäft ganz aus der Nähe anzuschauen, denn Deutschland steht vor der Legalisierung von Cannabis und die Bundesregierung hat vor kurzem eine Expertenanhörung beendet und ganz viele Experten aus der ganzen Welt gefragt, aber das reicht mir natürlich nicht. Deswegen nehme ich euch jetzt in diesem Video mit nach Seattle, USA. So, ich warte hier gerade auf das Shuttle und da kommt es. Und von dort aus geht's jetzt mit dem Wassertaxi nach Downtown. Hier sieht man ein bisschen, wie steil die Straße ist und ich gehe jetzt von der Fähre aus durch das CBD komplett hier Richtung Uncle Ike's Coffee Shop. Das ist der Uncle Ike's Pet Shop. Okay, man sieht jetzt hier zum Beispiel, dass hier der Bottle Shop ist und der Pot Shop nebenan. Deswegen gehe ich jetzt mal für euch da rein. So, hier sieht man die Vielzahl der Produkte. Denn wenn man sich mal genau anschaut, sieht so ein Paket aus. Hier steht zum Beispiel drauf, welche Terpene hier drauf sind, wie das ungefähr schmeckt. Und das ist aber 21 Jahre und 3,5 Gramm Passion Flower beinhaltet. Wenn man sich dieses Produkt hier zum Beispiel mal anschaut, sieht man auch ganz genau, wie viel Gramm es ist und hat hier diese Potenzanalyse, wie viel THC, THCA drin ist, CBD und CBDA. Das sind die nicht psychoaktiven Bestandteile. Hier, wie viel Cannabinoide drin sind und auch nochmal ein Warnhinweis. An dieser Stelle möchte ich mich ganz herzlich bei meinem neuen Hauptsponsor Canna Medical Pharma bedanken. Canna Medical Pharma ist einer der führenden Medizinal-Cannabis-Anbieter in Deutschland und hat nicht nur diese Folge ermöglicht, sondern wird auch noch viele weitere Folgen rund um die Legalisierung ermöglichen. Und damit du nicht zu knapp kommst, habe ich noch ein kleines Gewinnspiel auf Instagram verlinkt in der Videobeschreibung, wo man viele kleine, nette Sachen gewinnen kann. Aber jetzt weiter zu dem Video. Hier bei diesem Produkt sieht man zum Beispiel auch die genaue Zusammensetzung mit den Cannabinoiden, wie viel Indica und Sativa hier drin ist und hier hinten ist nochmal ein Warnhinweis drauf, dass das Produkt natürlich berauschend ist. Hier sieht man zum Beispiel Drinkables, das sind Flüssigkeiten, die berauschend sind. Man sieht hier zum Beispiel ganz gut drauf, dass es sich um 100 Milligramm THC handelt und wir gucken uns hier mal ganz genau die Warnhinweise an. Mit dem Messzeichen. Hier haben wir noch ein anderes Produkt. Thank you very much, bro, for inviting me. What's this kind of dispensary called?
It's a recreational dispensary, so basically we sell like recreational style products, basically stuff that's going to be all THC. We sell products with CBD as well, but we are legally not allowed to sell anything that has no THC at all. Those are only reserved for medical dispensaries because that's what first came around here in Washington.
Wer kann so ein Fachgeschäft eigentlich betreiben?
Basically, anybody who is able to apply and put the upfront money. I believe one marijuana license here in the Washington state was around $1 million to start up front. They are actually no longer currently accepting applications for people who want to open their own dispensaries, and instead they put it in kind of like a social equity lottery, so that way they are able to disperse licenses to people who may not have been able to put the upfront money, like $1 million, straight down up front.
Wieso ist es $1 Million, die man benötigt?
That I don't really know why. I believe it was decided by the Washington Liquor and Cannabis Board, which is the WLCB, basically. They're the ones that decide all of like the fines, all of the entry fees, everything like that. But they're not even allowing people to get more licenses right now because there's so many people out there with the licenses from the start that they don't even allow people to get growing licenses or processor licenses right now. The only way to grab that is if you were in talks with another company and they were willing to trade their license to you, or you get it from the social equity lottery.
Boah, viele fragen sich ja, wie viele Fachgeschäfte darf man eigentlich betreiben? Wie ist das hier in Washington?
It's about 5. We currently have 5 stores right now, but I'm pretty sure that if we're able to get a license through another transfer, that is allowed. But it'd be exciting to see if we're actually allowed to get a 6th store.
Viele fragen sich, welche Kriterien müssen eigentlich erfüllt werden, um so eine Lizenz zu bekommen?
Basically, the ways to be able to get a license is that first you got to be able to pay any upfront fees. Then you have to apply through the Washington State LCB, and they take a while to basically run through your check background, like your credit background. They'll check through your whole life just to make sure.
Okay.
And if you have any sort of like crimes or anything, that's going to halt you. They don't necessarily stop you, but just because America has a very like turmoil history with when it regards to cannabis and like social justice efforts and stuff like that. So that's why Washington State tries as best as they can to be able to not completely stop people off from being able to work in the cannabis industry, even if you might have like a previous drug offense.
Okay. Stopp. Bevor du weiterschaust, lass auf jeden Fall hier unten links ein Abo da, denn du könntest Folgendes verpassen. Part 2 von diesem Video und vor allen Dingen, das war noch nicht alles, ich bin auch noch nach Kanada gefahren für euch, um mir auch dort ein kanadisches Cannabis-Fachgeschäft anzuschauen und das könntest du sonst natürlich verpassen. Darf man, wenn man so ein Fachgeschäft betreibt, auch gleichzeitig anbauen?
I am from the state of Florida. They do medical there.
Okay.
And the person who runs the store must also have their own farm. They must cultivate their own cannabis and everything. Here in Washington State, very specifically, you're not allowed to do that in the slightest. You're not allowed to own a farm and then also own a retail entity. You have to be separate. And that's why we have so many different brands here in Washington. It's because so many people decided to go the processor grower route, and they were able to just kind of like boom their brand this way, and other people wanted to go into the retail side of things to be able to serve the guests and to serve the customer base. I believe it probably was to try and sort out some of like the nitty gritty and try to like not allow certain bigger companies to maybe come in and just completely wipe out the whole market. Like there's jokes in America right now where they're waiting for federal legalization and for Marlboro to come out with their own like weed and marijuana brand essentially.
Okay.
So I think it was to protect small businesses and businesses like us who are just like, we're native to here.
To have more variety of products,
Exactly.
not just like a lot oligopoly situations, like just 3 big brands, nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to stop a monopoly, and that's what I believe that reason is for. But some farmers might tell you different, because some farmers want to sell like farmer market, like farm to table sort of thing. Farmers want to be able to just sell their wheat directly to the people. Other farmers love this system.
Yeah.
They love being able to just ship off their product to us in the retail store, and then we be able to sell it to the guests basically from there.
Bo, wer darf denn hier Produkte eigentlich kaufen? Kann das auch zum Beispiel jemand machen, der 16 Jahre alt ist?
Anybody over the age of 21, 21 and over is allowed to purchase. It's basically the same laws as with liquor. You're not allowed to purchase unless you're 21 and over. There is some certain rules where it's the same thing as liquor and alcohol in bars. If someone comes in stumbling, slurring their words, obviously super like inebriated on some level, we are not allowed to sell to them, because then that can also like throw them over.
Jetzt sind wir ja hier im Fachgeschäft. Welche Produkte gibt's denn hier so?
From like flour to pre-rolls, which are like pre-rolled blunts and joints and stuff like that, edibles of all styles, vapes, disposable vapes, concentrates, which are also dabs. We have basically everything.
Okay, nice. Wie teuer sind die Produkte da ungefähr?
We have like quarters of weed, which is 7 grams of weed for $12 you can get. Yes.
So the price is like less than $2 a gram?
Yeah, if you think, yeah.
Wow.
We even had $2 grams at one point. We're trying to work to get them back, hopefully. But we also have $2 pre-rolls, $2 like edible candies.
Yeah.
We have $4 infused pre-rolls. We've got drinks that start at like $6.50. Like you can get pretty high off and not big of a budget pretty here.
Which is the most expensive product you have?
I believe I think it's a catch between $75 for 1 gram of rosin dab that we have. Very good quality, but it is a hard thing to convince someone to spend on. Or $61.50 for 1 single eighth, which is 3.5 grams.
Sag mal, Bo, kann man denn hier auch mit Kreditkarte oder sowas zahlen?
Yes and no. America has that weird thing where it's just like states have their own laws and legalize their own way, and then there's a federal law. So the federal law is currently that like cannabis is still a Schedule I drug. Basically, the federal government considers it as bad as heroin. So in Washington State, because we have it recreationally legalized, you know, we're allowed to buy it, consume it, sell it here, but we can't use certain federal systems, and that includes the credit one, and we can't use banks. So basically, our whole system is based on a cash business. We used to only be able to accept cash, but now we're able to do a ATM charge on the POSaBIT machines that we operate here, and it's just a $3.50 fee, and then you get a little bit of cash back, but you're still able to use your debit card.
Ah, okay. Dürft ihr denn auch Sachen per Online-Versand an die Kunden rausschicken oder darf man das nur hier kaufen?
So, kinda. So you're not allowed to pay for stuff online just because of the whole federal thing. Again, we're not allowed to have people pay online for their order. But you can put in an order online and then come pick it up and pay for it in shop later, which is what we offer. We offer a pre-order system with an online menu with all of our products. And if you pre-order, you do get 5% off. So we kind of like offer a little bit incentive for that.
So it's like click and collect.
Yeah, essentially. A lot of people will think that we'll be able to deliver as well. Sadly, Washington State does not allow delivery.
Wie hoch ist denn der Anteil der Personen, die von dieser Möglichkeit Gebrauch machen, online vorzubestellen?
I want to say a good probably 65 to 70% of our clientele.
70%?
Yeah, order online. We have a very high amount of pre-orders. Sometimes the pre-orders will be flooding out whereas the walk-in line will be like nothing.
Okay, crazy.
Yeah, and it always is on the big deal days because we offer crazy deals for specifically pre-orders.
Wenn dich das Thema Fachgeschäfte weiter interessiert, lass auf jeden Fall, wie gesagt, ein Abo da, denn Teil 2 dieser Folge kommt in Kürze und wie gesagt, es gibt ja noch eine Folge über ein kanadisches Cannabis-Fachgeschäft und dazu kommt noch in diesem Monat eine weitere Folge. Jetzt sind wir leider schon wieder am Ende dieser Folge angekommen, deswegen habe ich hier ein Video verlinkt mit dem Bundestagsabgeordneten Dirk Heidenblut, der super coole Einblicke in die Pläne der Ampelkoalition gewährt. Bis zum nächsten Mal.